Welcome to the Leadership Insights podcast, the podcast that takes you on a journey into the world of leadership, offering a deep dive into the minds of accomplished leaders from various fields around the world. I'm your host, Amanda Jane, originally from the north of Ireland and now living in beautiful Cheshire, England. Together we'll explore the strategies, experiences and wisdom that have shaped these incredible leaders into the visionaries they are today through solo episodes and interviews. I'm a leadership and communications coach myself, and I'm passionate about promoting a coaching culture in the workplace, as well as empowering leaders to flourish personally and thrive professionally. Whether you're a seasoned executive, an aspiring leader in business, or someone simply fascinated by the art of leadership, each episode will provide valuable insights, practical tips, and inspiring stories. So get ready for a dose of motivation, innovation, and leadership brilliance on the Leadership Insights podcast, brought to you by amandajane.co.uk. Hello. Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Leadership Insights podcast with me, your host, Amanda Jane. And today, my very special guest is Bianka Downs. Hello, Bianka.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, and thank you for joining me today all the way from Las Vegas.
Yes, quite a ways away.
Quite a way, and a time difference as well, which is interesting and challenging. So have you had time to look at the first three questions?
I did. And you know what? They were not that easy, although they're funny, silly questions, but it was so difficult to pick. So
They're not
I'm
that
excited.
easy. I
No.
haven't done mine, and I'm going to have to do them on the intro. So yes, I need to do that myself. So we will begin. What is your favorite motivational song?
Oh man, so that I think was the most difficult of the three. I am a lover of all sorts of music and all genres. But when it comes to my favorite motivational, I think I'd have to tap into my faith. I am Christian, and so I constantly lean onto Christian worship music. And the name of the song is called Same Power by Jeremy Camp.
And why do you like that so much? Is it upbeat? Does it get you moving?
The song kind of has almost like a rock tone, and I'm a big fan of 80s rock,
Mm-hmm.
even though I was born in 90, but I'm a big fan of 80s rock, and it's kind of got that same kind of beat, and it's just motivational because the song tells us about how we can bring in the same power and the power that we have through Jesus Christ.
That sounds wonderful. I'll definitely add that to the playlist and I can't wait to listen to it. On to question number 2. Do you have a favorite motivational quote?
I do. And this one was actually not difficult because I throw these out almost every single day, either to myself or to somebody else. And it is, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Or the spin-off on that would be, the answer is 100% no if you don't ask.
Yes, I like
And I
that.
live by that. I mean, if I ever need anything in life, I'm going to ask. And at least I know I always have a 50% chance of, of getting or receiving the help or whatever it is that I'm needing.
Yeah, that is perfect. I love that. Thank you for that. And finally, your favorite book. And this one doesn't have to be motivational.
My favorite book, oh gosh, there's so many too. But I'm going to share two if possible.
Perfect.
So my favorite overall book is called How to Build Confidence and Influence by Public Speaking, and it's by Dale Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
And that book really teaches a lot of general confidence and personal development, speaking, and just all these great things kind of like in one book. It's a spin-off of How to Win Friends and Influence People. And my second book is, of course, the Bible. That's where I find my motivation and my strength.
Yeah, wonderful. And do you like to read physical books, Kindle, audiobook, or mix it up? Are you a traditionalist?
I would love to say that I am the girl that has a corner in her house or her yard with a blanket and a pile of books. And although I do have a shelf that has literally no space for physical books on it, I never read them. And I always end up buying the Audible because I listen in the car or while I'm giving my toddler a bath. So I am the Audible girl for now in this season of my life.
Me too. I have a lot of books and I love a bookshelf, and I've got so many books that I've collected my whole life. But I do like an audiobook, but I find I can multitask, particularly motivational books or career oriented books. Yeah, definitely. But that's the world we live in. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do like a visual book, and there's nothing like holding a book.
A hard copy. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's more of just a feel good thing that then I end up buying the hard copy, but I promise you I'll never really read it front to back. I will listen to it, and so it's a lot of just perfectly untouched money on that shelf.
Yeah, but it
Makes me
does
feel
look good.
good.
And yes,
Yeah.
it's reassuring to know that they're there. And
Yes.
they're always in my sight every day. I can
Mhm.
see all the books, but yes, I do have duplicates of books and audiobooks. But thank you for that, Bianca. That sounds absolutely
Yes.
wonderful.
That
I
was
will
fun.
add those to the list. It is good to think about, isn't it? So moving on to leadership, you've got 7 years leadership roughly under your belt. You're a very,
Mhm.
very busy lady. So what is it that you're working on at the moment?
Right now, I am currently in launch mode, which is so much fun because it just feels like all work and no fun at this time before we actually launch. But recently, I've curated a signature framework of confidence skills that I believe every single person at some point will come across these 7 skills that you've got to eventually master as you turn into that next level of yourself, whether it's in your personal life, your business life, and entrepreneurship, or whatnot. So these 7 skills are being turned into a challenge. It's a 7-week challenge where we are diving deep into these 7 skills and all of the subcategories within the 7 skills. So it's a very meaty, beefy challenge. But we are getting ready to launch that on the 24th of January.
That sounds fantastic. What are those 7 skills? If you can list them off the top of your head, or do you have a list in front of you?
Yeah, so the 7 skills are mindset, being able to have a mindset overcoming and a mindset shift when needed, just kind of refining your mindset.
Mhm.
Being a bold communicator is the second one. Having a powerful presence and being able to really focus on goal grit. So, goal overcoming, goal setting. A lot of times when you think of goals, it's just like setting goals, but overcoming them is really, and achieving them is really a whole nother, right? That's a whole nother ballpark.
Mhm.
So goal grit and then self-care, doing inner work. So when I say self-care, I don't mean like pedicures and getting your
Mhm.
nails done, although that is self-care and I love
Yeah.
that, but I mean true inner work.
Mhm.
And then the 7th skill is just getting all of those implemented into your daily life.
Mhm. It sounds absolutely amazing, and I think it's really good to take the time out of your work, your family life, to focus on those things and set aside the time to work through a program like that, and a challenge. We all like a challenge, so
Mhm.
that sounds incredible, and I look forward to hearing more about that. So we're going to talk today about emotional resilience. So, can you share a personal story that highlights the intersection of emotions and resilience in your leadership journey?
Yes, there's a lot. One that really stands out to me right now is when you are in a role of leadership, oftentimes that could mean that you are leading a team or that you're leading a project. And one thing that's standing out to me is when somebody leaves that team. So, my background as a wedding planner, having wedding coordinators, and then as a real estate broker and having real estate agents that work with me on my team, there are times where you're going to have people on your team that leave your team. And I think having the proper emotional response in seasons when people are leaving you as a leader, I think that's one where emotional resilience really stands out the
Mhm.
most.
And also those careers, weddings and buying and selling property, are they not like the top two stressors in anyone's life? So
I
not
think I
only
saw it along with like the military and being a I think it was like law enforcement, wedding planning. There was a study that went out a few years ago, and yeah, wedding planning was on that, the top
Wow.
5.
So you can absolutely attest to the pot of resilience that you absolutely need, not only behind the scenes, but as you said, when someone leaves the team, and what the void that leaves, is that what you mean? And having to
Yes.
cover, recruit, manage the workload. So what would you do in that case? How would you cope?
I think it really is just kind of maintaining a level-headed internal and external response. And when I say people leaving your team, I don't mean, that they're leaving on a bad note. Sometimes it could be, the way that I see it and that I've had to come to really learn, which is part of emotional resilience, is that we're not marrying our team. People outgrow their circumstances, people outgrow their careers, they move on. So not taking things personal is how I cope, and taking my emotion out of the results, and or not having an emotion attached to a possible result in anything. Whether it's how long my team stays with me, results of a project that we're getting. And yes, although there's goals and there's deliverables that need to be met and all of that, for me, emotional resilience is being able to take the emotion out of it. And that's how I cope with pretty much anything that comes my way.
That's really interesting that you say that, not taking things personally and removing the emotion. I read something profound a few weeks ago saying exactly that, and it's the key to a lot of success, because when you actually analyze the emotion that you do attach to things, that's what breaks you, really, isn't it? The emotional attachment that you hang on these things, and taking things personally. Why has this happened to me? Why is this always me? Why me?
Oh yeah.
But dealing with that and finding coping mechanisms to work your way through that, I think that is really, really useful advice. Thank you for that insight. That's really interesting. How have you navigated the balance between vulnerability and leadership and authority in your career? And this is really interesting because you want to be seen as the strong woman.
Oh, well, I will say, I think it's a little bit of a loaded question, but the surface type answer that I can give to that is, or that I can speak to that is, sharing your struggles as a leader oftentimes is what would set the pathway for those that you are leading. So although you are looked at as like the strong one, the one that's supposed to get them through, that's the one that's supposed to have the front lines, take your team into battle, so to speak, and all of that, before you're even in battle, before things even get to a point where they feel like they absolutely need you to lead them through, your team knowing what it's taken from you to even get to this spot and all of those struggles is how I maintain that kind of like human side of me, that I'm not just a stuffy leader for, my real estate agents, or my team and my creative side and all of those things. It's really sharing them like, man, I know that this is like, this sucks right now because I've gone through this in the past. And if I can look back, here's how I've gotten over it, just trying different things. And yeah, I mean, it's really just that. It's sharing those struggles. That's how you maintain vulnerability.
And that you've been there, you're not a robot. You understand the struggles. And also with leadership, it can be quite lonely because people do look to you to have all the answers. Yeah, to know what exactly it is that you need to do. And I think sharing those vulnerabilities at the right time, that I'm struggling, I don't know the answer, is sometimes okay, and that's where you can collaborate with your team. But I agree. Sometimes.
And even with your customers and your clients too. I mean, in real estate, if they ask me a question, I happen to not know that answer, I am vulnerable, and I risk looking less professional per se. And I say, I actually don't know the answer to that, but I definitely have the resources and the capability and ability to find that answer for you. And let me tell you, Amanda, not once have I had a client that actually looked at me less professional because I didn't know an answer or two. But that's the risk that we feel we're taking inside.
Well, is it less professional or is it honest? Because none of us know exactly the right answer at every given time. And honesty, integrity, and authenticity goes a long way. So, and people would prefer to buy, but people buy from people, don't they? And if you're honest and authentic, I definitely think that goes a long way and strengthens those relationships. And most certainly, we're not robots. So being honest and showing that vulnerability, I think is a gift that we need to embrace, as you've shown.
People can feel when you're not vulnerable too.
Yeah.
I think that allows people to get closer to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sincere. It's from the heart, isn't it? And we are definitely not robots, and we can't smile and be chirpy all day, every day. And yeah, it's okay, I think, to show that you're not on your game all the time, 100%. Yeah. I know I have all the answers, because none of us do. Absolutely. None of us have all the answers all of the time. Thank you. That's a real insight. Really good tip there. Thank you. Do you have a story of a significant setback in your career and how you bounced back? And I'm asking this not to put you on the spot, but I learn from these stories, and people listening, we all have these stories, and we tell them when we're out at the pub or out at a dinner party. And especially I like to hear them from people that I work with. What did you do? How did you overcome this? So have you got one?
I do, and it's a recent one, so it's kind of relative still. So in real estate, there's multiple license levels, and one is, you're a standard real estate agent, and then the next level up is to obtain a broker's license. And a broker's license is what allows you to open up your own office and hire agents and really just have a brick and mortar or an online or whatever. It really is what allows you to start your next level business. So when I first got my real estate license in 2016, I passed my real estate exam on the first try. And statistically, not many people do. So I kind of held that little chip on my shoulder, all these years that, I passed it on the first try. Well, last year, in 2023, I ended up wanting to I had an opportunity to expand and open my own brick and mortar office. So I put in the investment financially that was needed, filled out the paperwork, and said, I'm going to go get my broker's license. I didn't have that yet. But I took all the other steps first. So I had to do it. And I went in thinking, well, it's going to be easy because, I passed my real estate on the first try. Brokers can't be that difficult. Well, the major setback that I had is we had the licensing done. I had put in my financial investment. There was already agents that I was hiring. We secured a physical office, got the keys, and I went in to take the test and I failed. Oh. And in real estate, when you are trying to get this the state license to become a broker, it's $100 every time that you fail to retake it. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, that's not cool, but okay. Second time, best, at worst, I figured third time's the charm. Well, I'll cut the terrible feelings that I went through, but I actually failed that exam 6 times. Oh. And you also have to wait, I think, a week between being able to schedule it again. Mm-hmm. So that was the biggest setback for what felt like my entire career. Mm-hmm. You have to think, I had literally everything else in place already. Mm-hmm. And I've gone through so much investment of resources and time, and I couldn't get this license. And I started feeling, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I was not meant to start an office, open an office. I was not meant for any of this. Like, who did I think I was? And all those doubts and all those ugly feelings started creeping in that I've never felt once in my entire career real estate. To overcome that, though, what I did was come to a realization that I can take this exam 6 times or 27, 50 times, whatever it is. The moment that I give up, which I was very, very close to, because every time you fail, it's a major hit to your ego mm-hmm. and self-esteem. And I was failing by 1 or 2 points, Amanda. So it's mm-hmm. not like I was just a complete failure, mm-hmm. but that's what it felt like. Mm-hmm. And I said at some point to my husband, if I just quit. And, I closed down my building that hadn't even technically opened yet. And I reversed everything that I've already done because I felt like this was my next calling. And I just say, you know what? I'm not going to take the test anymore. I'm done. Then that failure is my own choice. It's by my own doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my mindset had to change, that there's a reason why I'm taking this test so many times. And what I came to realize when I finally passed it on the 7th try, lucky number 7, is that I kind of, when I opened my office, like a few weeks later, I walked in feeling so confident because I knew all the questions on this exam because I've taken it so many times. So as far as legalities and all of that, I got them drilled into my head now. So that to me was like a significant setback in the whole path of my career, but I didn't let it stay a setback. That's a choice.
That is an incredible story. And I can see all the gremlins of imposter syndrome, negative self-talk, all the things that we talk about when we're talking about emotional resilience, and to keep going and doing it again and again, and to emerge from it thinking to yourself, what did I learn? What is this teaching me? That is an incredible lesson to learn and to share, because people would give up. But that's why we're here today, to
perseverance.
Absolutely. And to emotional resilience. What is it? What does it mean? It means digging deep into your soul to find that part of you that will not give up, that will keep going and keep going and keep going. Because in your heart and in your bones and in your soul, you know that this is what you're meant to do. But as you just said, when you walked in after you'd passed, you were so confident, you knew the answer to all the legalities. And when I'm analyzing different stories and things that happen, I have to think that we need to be free to make mistakes. We need to be free to fall over, because we have to get back up again and think, what did I learn? What did that teach me? And that is such a profound story, Bianca. Thank you for sharing that. It's I thought that will stay with me for a while, that story will. That was incredible.
I'll tell you this, I have not cried so much as an adult. Every time I failed that test, it just took out every tear I had, because I took 6 months to prepare for it on top of that. So
yeah. I can imagine that, to have every fiber of your being tested to its very limits. But you can use that story for whatever you choose to in life, whatever project you're working on. Today we're talking about emotional resilience. It doesn't get any better than that story. And
thank you. I've never shared it.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing it with me today, because it's important that we share. And I remember when I was younger, I didn't get picked to sing in a choir or a play, and I stopped singing forever because I thought I wasn't good enough. But that was, I didn't know back then that it was okay to fail and try again. I just thought that was it. I was no good. And I didn't learn until I was an adult that you keep trying, you do it, you try new things. And also when you run your own business, you've got to keep trying, you've got to tweak, you've got to refine, you've got to, find a different way. And I don't think that we teach that enough in schools and with young people to be a bit more resilient. And that's why I'm particularly interested in what we're doing today, because I believe that if we teach children and young people that story of what you've just said, just don't give up, just keep trying and tweaking. But the fact that you did that and got it on your 7th try, your knowledge was better after your 7th try than it would have been after your first. So does that not make you much better at that job than you would have been at your first? So yeah, that is.
But it's not easy to come to that perspective.
Yeah.
Not when you're in the middle of it, and so that's yet another example of emotional resilience, is kind of taking a step back and saying, okay, we are going to find a better perspective here. Let's just keep going, keep trying.
So interestingly then, if you had a coach or a mentor in your life at that time, would that have helped you maybe with goal setting, perseverance, and giving you that structure to keep going? Well, effectively, I think you coached yourself there. But if you had that support network somewhere in your life, would that have made things less difficult?
100%. And actually, no, that's what did help me is I've always been a woman of mentorship. I'm a mentee, I love being a mentee. I think I got my first mentor back in 2016 or 15. And for me, it's sitting at the feet of people who have gone before you. And I am a lifelong learner. So having a mentor in my life, pretty much in every category of my life, I even right now, a little sidebar, but right now I'm even looking for a mentor in cooking. Like I'm looking for someone here in Las Vegas that just knows how to cook amazingly because I want to refine my cooking skills for my family, and it's not always just social media or Pinterest. Like I'm looking for an actual mentor in the kitchen. Anyway, so yes, I 100% mentors it's just life changing when you put yourself out there and ask, ask somebody to be your mentor.
And it's good to have someone that, someone in your life that you can work with, that knows you, that can help you and help you with those goals and pick you up when you trip and fall. So that leads really nicely on to my next question.
Oh, perfect.
So who are the leaders or role models that have inspired your leadership style? And it doesn't have to be anyone famous.
Oh, good. Because I don't know a lot of famous people. No, well, first and foremost, my mom. My mom is a very, very hardworking woman still to this day. She holds a very high title in her line of work, and I've seen her climb up her corporate ladder since I was a baby, enduring divorce, bankruptcy, and so much before I was even 5 years old. Yet now she's pretty much at the top of her ladders that she can in her corporate line of work. So my mom has always been my number one role model in terms of perseverance, never giving up, and just always getting or seeking more, trying for more. I also have a ton of mentors that I consider mentors on social media. Kind of like we were just saying, people that have gone before me. I'm a big believer that no matter where you're at, like you could feel like you're at the very top of, your department at work. If you're in corporate, you could feel like you're at the very top as a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, but around the corner, there's always someone ahead of you. And it's not far to find them. They're literally around the corner. Yeah, for me, it's my mom, and then it's the people who are around the corner that are accessible and that I follow on social media that are my mentors.
Your mom sounds incredible. Yeah, she sounds an amazing woman and definitely a hard worker. And it is good to have someone to look up to and aspire from and learn from as well. I just always love to see strong female role models around the world. And I love it when I see someone doing a great job. And I have 2 teenage daughters myself, and I'm always trying to see the world through their eyes and, who's inspiring them and who's leading them. But yeah, your mom sounds pretty special.
Thank you.
If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self on emotional resilience, what would it be?
Say yes to all the opportunities. Say yes to everything. All the bad stuff that you're going to go through because you say yes to everything is and are all the opportunities to learn.
That's good advice.
Yeah, just say yes to everything. Because it is going to lead. Not everything's going to align. Not everything's going to work out. But the more things that are not working out get you closer to what is.
So not everything's going to be perfect, is it? Not everything's going to be the right opportunity, the right
Most
path.
things won't be.
Yeah. And there's so many things you have to learn to get to where you want to be. And I've noticed that if, whatever choices you make, when you reflect and you think, well, if I hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. Or if I hadn't made that choice, this wouldn't have happened. And it all seems to fit to make this wonderful journey. And yeah, not everything is designed to be this perfect path to bring you to these optimum choices. But as you quite rightly say, these are all there to teach you. It's your learning curve. And life always has something to teach you, whether you're aware of it or not at the time. That sounds pretty profound.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you just said it, and I've never really heard it said in a sentence out loud. But when they say what motivates you in the morning, it's
Mhm.
not so much a thing or an item or even a person. I think it's exactly what you just said,
Mhm.
that life always has something to teach you. I think that's
Yeah.
what motivates me to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Amanda, for that.
it's so profound. And I just think you and I talk, I'm in England at the moment, you're in Las Vegas, and this conversation is just so incredible. I love never knowing who I'm going to speak with next, what's around the corner. And particularly with what I do, I get to meet and speak with incredible humans. And yeah, you just never know what's around the corner. And every day has something to teach me. So
So
it's great.
amazing.
Yeah, it's great to wake up and think, oh, what's going to happen today? And yeah, it's exciting. And that's probably why we're entrepreneurs. That's the thread that unites us. That's what we have in common.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So my final question: balancing roles can be demanding, and I know you're a mother. So how do you manage your work-life harmony or balance? Now, some people take issue with the word balance, so that's why
Mm-hmm.
I threw harmony in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Some people, like, I don't want balance. I want it all in all categories.
Mhm.
Amanda, in a moment of vulnerability for me, I struggle with it actually.
Mhm.
I don't have it all figured out when it comes to balance. The more that I put on my plate with, real estate and now the Actionable Confidence Challenge, and I also have I have a couple other businesses too, small businesses. And the more that it put on my plate, I'm realizing that the harder time I'm having with balancing with life, especially with a toddler and my husband. So I'm actively seeking, coaching and strategy for more work-life harmony and balance, because it's not something that I totally have control of yet in this
Mhm.
season of my life.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
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 not easy.
it's not
It's not
easy,
easy.
and it's good to be able to admit that. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people want to power on, thinking I can do it, I can do it, and there are lots of things to consider. And I work with some people who outsource some of their work and they hire VAs to do the things that they don't necessarily need to do. And that was a light bulb moment for me. Someone
Mm-hmm.
said, well, why do you spend your time doing this? Your craft is this. And when you set up a business, for example, you spend a lot of time doing your website. And I'm a coach, and I don't want to be doing my website. I want to coach.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those things that we don't necessarily need to be doing that we can get other people to do. But yes, acknowledging the fact that we're not super women, we can't do it all, even though as much as we would like to, we've still got to look after ourselves. And we did mention
Mm-hmm.
self-care early on
Yeah.
in our chat. And there's so many things that I want to do, but I physically cannot do them. And I I just have this desire to do so many things, but I know my limitations. But it's okay to say I can't. Yeah, there is no balance. It just does not balance. But I find the
Yeah.
best harmony for me that I possibly can.
For me,
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to
Okay.
add too, for me, the harmony is really just, although there's no balance, when I am in a moment that I love, I'm present.
Yeah.
And that's where I find the harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you miss so much if you're not present because you're thinking about the next thing. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. There's a list going down in your head, and I do that. I mentally tick the list.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I have to make a conscious decision to stop, enjoy the moment, enjoy Christmas, enjoy time with my family, because it goes in a blink of an eye. And especially you with your toddler, that
Hmm.
time will go so quickly, and you will
Lightning fast.
lightning fast. And then my two daughters, one is almost 20 years old, and I just genuinely I'm shocked that it just went so quickly. But being present in the moment and savoring that time and being present is just so important. But
Yeah.
yeah, seek the harmony rather than the balance. I think
Yes.
that's the lesson. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time, your insight, your wisdom, your honesty. It's been such a wonderful conversation. I have really enjoyed it. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure and a joy to talk to you today, Bianca. Thank you
No,
so much.
the pleasure is all mine. And I've had such an amazing time chatting with you today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Leadership Insights podcast today. And special thanks to my wonderful guest, Bianca Downs. Join me on the next episode for more inspirational leadership stories and insights. You can follow me on Instagram at Coach Amanda Jane or visit my website amandajane.co.uk. Bye for now.